What a big weekend we've got on Talksport. It starts under the lights at Selhurst Park. Tomorrow we're at Stamford Bridge for Chelsea against Brentford. A big six-pointer in the Premier League is live on Talksport 2 at 3 tomorrow with Bournemouth against Burnley. The Sunday session comes from the Old Trafford, the Manchester derby, as there are 5 fixtures in the Premier League on Sunday. Before that, Adrian Durham takes you round the ground from 2:30, as he does every single Saturday afternoon, with the fastest and best goal service in the business. We're off and underway, live on Talksport, with Tottenham Hotspur shooting from left to right in white shirts, white shorts and socks, and Crystal Palace in blue and red half jerseys, blue shorts and blue socks, attacking the White Horse Lane end away to our left-hand side. Stuart Pearce, the former England captain, is alongside me. If Tottenham do harbour ambitions of winning the league or competing for it, then winning here is essential. How do they go about it?
I think just keep playing the same way they have been, to be honest with you. Keep feeding Maddison, and hopefully Maddison will end up supplying that Son running in behind the back line. And there was a lot of problems caused last week down this right-hand side, and if they can keep foraging down here, Palace struggled to deal with it last week, to be quite honest with you, up at Newcastle, so they could be vulnerable down this side.
Ball played down the left-hand side, back to his goalkeeper, Vicario by Sarr, and then in the heart of the defence, Van der Ven and Romero combine on the edge of the box, back to Vicario, who's been a very astute signing. No one made more saves in Serie A over the last 2 seasons than him, and he's been very useful in that regard for Tottenham up until this point. It's still 0-0. You're listening to Talksport, and it's that time of the year where we switch the white balls for the bright yellow balls so that they're more visible in the more frequent use of floodlights. But it is not cold enough yet for Ray Lewington to put a pair of trousers on.
Interesting to see Tottenham on the build-up. They've pushed Davis in from left back, as it's his normal position in a defensive line-up, to almost a left central midfield player, with Maddison going outside him to enhance the build.
It's really interesting because that's exactly how Udogie has been playing all season, Stuart. He's been wandering into us almost like an inside left corridor, and sometimes he's often the furthest player up, and it was always going to be interesting to me tonight to see if Ben Davies would continue to do that in Udogie's absence. Kulusevski is darting down the right, trying to get in behind Mitchell, who took an extra touch and gave it back to his goalkeeper, almost took it out of play, and then put Sam Johnson in a spot of bother because he was being pressured by Son, and it's helped out on this near side, and it's away for a throw. We've played 2 minutes 16 seconds. You're listening to TalkSport. It's goalless, and it's with Basuma, who plays the ball back to Pedro Porro, and then it goes into Mickey van der Ven, and then he's immediately harassed by Jordan Ayew, who's very good at leading the press from that right hand side. He puts himself about a bit.
Just looking at that Tottenham lineup as they've set up, with Davis pushing into midfield.
Sarr delivering across from the right side. He got there ahead of the defender Gueye and then pulled across through the blocks. It was well dealt with, but it was slightly surprising that he had the ability to get in behind the defence there. Just a little bit of switching off going on from Palace.
Yeah, Tottenham have started the game in good vein. You can see the confidence in the team, the way they're knocking the ball around. And with Davis going into that midfield area, if you ask me the question, how do Palace win the game? I would say when Davis steps into that, on the turnover of possession, can they put that ball into the right wing area and get Ayew into that area of the pitch and on the counter-attack?
We'll see if that happens over the course of the game. Roy Hodgson was pretty sanguine despite the performance against Newcastle. He said it won't happen again, don't worry. Even if the result doesn't go his way, they won't be as bad as they were at St James Park. Maddison on the half turn is engaged by Lerma. The referee says play on. It goes back into midfield and Basuma dives in and wins it. Interesting quirk of the rule book actually in regards to Yves Basuma, Stuart. He was on 4 yellow cards before he went to Luton the other week. He got sent off for 2 bookable offences. So what happens in that is that he gets a suspension for a red card. He resets to 4 bookable offences. It means if he gets booked tonight, he'll miss the game next Monday night against Chelsea.
So is there a suspension for the sending off then?
Yes, he gets a 1-match suspension for the sending off.
Would that not be tonight then?
No, it's already been done. It was last Monday night.
Yeah.
So he had his suspension, but it resets back to 4 yellow cards, so that he ends up, if he picks up another one, he'll get another game suspension. So they will be without him sooner rather than later, because he is a card magnet. Porro down the right hand side. Gay comes across into the left full-back position as Tottenham come on the attack and lifts the ball out towards this near side, and it's out for a throw. Papsar with the throwing on this near side, guides it back to halfway. Christian Romero, the Argentine, has it. Ven plays it out towards the far side, Van der Ven, and then it's via Davis out to Richarlison, who returns it to Davis, who pops it back to the edge of the area. It's a little bit short for Richarlison, who was coming in on top of it. Doucouré came across, but Maddison rescued possession for Tottenham Hotspur. The Palace manager, Roy Hodgson, saying it was good fortune that he hadn't lost 2 in a row, suggesting he'd been helped out by the fixture list, but he knew tonight there was every chance that it could happen, and Tottenham have started the brighter as Lerma gets the ball away from Kulusevski as he looks to attack on the right flank. Now maybe a border raid for Crystal Palace, who come through the middle, linking well. Edouard into Hughes. Can he get away from Van der Ven? Not likely. He's one of the fastest there is. He's won the ball back and played it wide. Ayew with a shot from distance, saved by Vicario, down by his left. It was a save he was expected to make, and it was a save he did make down to his left from a tight angle from Ayew. Back into the centre it goes, away again by Romero. There's a kick in the head of Lerma there. The referee says play on though, Andy Madley. And Palace do indeed build. Here is Mitchell on the left-hand side. Good save from Vicario, or one he was expected to make, Stuart?
It certainly was, but it goes back to that point with Davis pushed on, then Light at the back, and on the turnover just then, Will Hughes it was that found himself almost clear beyond the Tottenham back line in the centre of the pitch, and that will be an area Palace have to turn it over. I remember a few years ago, and I'm going back a good few years ago, I think Ajax played at Arsenal at the old Highbury, and when the fullbacks of Arsenal pushed on, all of a sudden Ajax left their 2 wingers up and said, look, when you get it, knock it over to us. And Palace maybe have to adopt that theory today.
7 minutes gone. Crystal Palace 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0. You're listening to Talksport. Free kick to Crystal Palace. It's a good 13 yards inside Tottenham territory, and it's 7 yards in from the left. Hughes floats it towards the far edge of the box. Gay heads it down. Ward funnels it forward. It comes on the edge of the box for Edouard, and he shoots it down low to his left. Vicario makes another save. Good reaction from Vicario this time. The ball sort of squirmed through to Odsonne Edouard on the edge of the box, just inside the D, and he turned very quickly and unleashed a shot which Vicario had to get down to his left to tip round the post.
Well, I've got to say the first one was straight at him and he dealt with really well. The second one, that was a very, very smart save, just then down to his left.
Well, they've had the 2 best chances, haven't they, Crystal Palace, in the game so far. We played 7.5 minutes live on Talksport on this Friday night under the lights. And we've got a try in the rugby for Andrew McKenna.
Ben Earl has got it for England. We've only been playing 8 minutes. Owen Farrell's already kicked a penalty, so England are 8-0 up. Conversion to come.
Andrew McKenna keeping an eye on the 3rd, 4th place Rugby World Cup playoff. A bit harsh that, isn't it, making them go into battle once again after losing a semi-final. Okay, I get it in football, but rugby, wow. We've got to go back and play Premiership in the not too distant future. Here is Papsar, just left of the halfway line. He moves up towards the right, finds Kulusevski, back to Romero. Palace playing a reasonably high line there as the ball comes into Sarr, and then good engagement from Jeff Schlupp, who will be vital being back in the team. And the ball goes out of play in front of the dugouts and away for a throw-in to Tottenham Hotspur. Postecoglou, pretty even guy, doesn't get too excited or too down, tries to behave the same no matter what is happening. But he is a bloke who has almost made it his business to stay on top of the table. Not even Pep has spent as much time on the top of leagues over the last 2 years as Ange Postecoglou, and his team can stretch their lead over the rest to 5 points ahead of the weekend tonight if they get all 3. But they might have a battle on their hands against Crystal Palace. Here is Van der Ven, out to the far side. Richarlison in behind, and Maddison is running into the penalty area. He's got Son in the middle, but he decides to try and pull it back for Kulusevski, and it's away by the retreating Lerma and out for a corner over on the far side.
Maddison timed his run brilliantly there, just being kept onside by, I think it was Gay, And then when he's pulled it back too far. Actually, he should have just rolled it slightly earlier than he did, and Son's got a tap in if he did.
It wasn't a corner, it was a throw in down by the corner flag, and it's been launched in towards Richarlison. He's then just about helped it in by the corner flag and helped it into the box where it's away by the Palace defence. Van der Ven's got it again under the watchful eye of Will Hughes, who was a little bit too eager to try and engage with him and ended up giving away a free kick. It was a little bit late from Will Hughes on his 50th Premier League appearances. He's played in the last 7 games in all comps after missing the opening 4 games at the beginning of the season with an injury of his own, and he's just inflicted a little bit of damage on Van der Ven. Oof, that's a sore one.
Yeah, a little bit more clumsy than dangerous, I think. Yeah, it didn't look pleasant, but I don't think there was any intent levelled there. I'm just looking at Tottenham's lineup. Both fullbacks now have pushed right in, and the marking lines for Palace are so difficult now. Central defenders have got Porro and Davis in the line, and the midfield players are concerned about them, to the cost of the likes of Maddison, who might get free on the back of them.
Yeah, it's been a tactic of Ange Postecoglou's, and it's worked up until this point, but you're absolutely right about the vulnerabilities it gives you the other way. If it breaks down, there are spaces for others to exploit, and even Monday night, when they weren't perfect, especially in the second half, they gave up chances that a more ruthless side might have taken. Here's Davis, edge of the area. Richarlison takes it on, runs into a bit of traffic. Chekdikure gets it away, and it bounces out into the path of Ayew, who's very good at winning fouls. Drags his team up the pitch, wins a free kick just short of the halfway line over on the right-hand side, and it remains goalless after 11 minutes.
I think Palace have got to, on the turnover, try to get from back to front as quickly as they possibly can. If they don't, Tottenham get back into shape very, very quickly. And it makes you wonder whether Van der Ven, with his pace, is absolutely ideally suited with a full-back pushing on to cover that area.
Goals have certainly been about as rare as a clear sky in London for Crystal Palace. They've scored just once in the last 4 league fixtures, but they've only let in 3 in the 4 home games that they've played so far. Here is Pedro Porro down the right, a flick off the back of Schlupp, and then further away by Porro as it drops back down in the right full-back position. Ange Postecoglou standing inside the technical area in front of the 4th official, Graham Scott. Has Graham Scott ever done anything else apart from be a 4th official? He's always a 4th official.
He seems quite content down there, to be fair to him.
It's a good gig, isn't it?
I thought I saw him in the press lounge earlier, tucking into the curry like we did.
Did you?
I did.
Here is Ayew down the right-hand side, getting the better of Davis, and he's got a bit of space to run into the right wing position, produces a cross, which is easy to pluck from the sky. And Vicario comes out, puts his arms up in the air and easily bowls it out, because it was a good cross, but maybe Edouard just wasn't ready for it. He wasn't there yet, and it was a bit too early from Jordan Ayew. Good noise from the Crystal Palace crowd, as there always is here. Away to our right in the Holmesdale Road end, they're usually the most vociferous of the Crystal Palace supporters. And tonight's no different. Maddison far side the left, just over halfway for Tottenham. Playing the ball back to Romero. Romero's got a bit of space to run into here. Son just drops a little bit off his markers, Gerhi, and Joachim Andersen. The ball goes wide to Sarr, and then Porro pokes it back into a congested area. Kulusevski loses his bulk to strong-arm Lerma off the ball, and it's a free kick given against Dejan Kulusevski, the Swedish international, in the left full-back position, goalless.
Just to give the listeners a sort of insight to Ben Davies' position, he's pushed on so far, he was up in the forward line with Son in the build-up, so they're quite happy for them to do that, and all of a sudden players turning up in areas of the pitch that they're not expected to can cause a lot of problems for the defensive side.
What's the solution for a defensive side when that happens? Are you asking Ayew to follow him, or is he immediately passed on to somebody else?
No, he's coming back that far. Ayew can't track him all the way back. Communication's key.
Son into Papsar, who's moved up to the edge of the penalty area. Maddison spotted a move by Richarlison out wide, and before he can turn, Ward, who's followed him from right back to track him into the centre, has crunched him and he's given away a free kick. It's about 13 yards short of the penalty area.
Yeah, just going back to your point there, communication's key at that stage. You've got to pass players on. There's no way you can get a so-called right-sided winger coming back into his own back four, basically, to mark a player. Not in free play anyway.
England lead Belgium by a 1-0. Lauren Hemp with a goal after 13 minutes in the Nations League. That commentary, by the way, from the King Power Stadium is live over on Talksport 2 right now. Download our app. You can flick between the two stations. So much you can get through on there. You can go back, listen to old shows. Well worth checking out the interview between Simon Jordan and Frank Warren from earlier in the week, which was sensational on Thursday's White and Jordan. A heated debate on whether Talksport have been banned from covering Tyson Fury's fights. And you can get all the stations there if you just download the app. You can flick between them. Maddison standing up from the free kick. Basuma is there as well. It's Basuma who hits it over the top of the bar. And it was over from the minute he left his foot.
It certainly was. It was that quick, short-paced run-up, and then he went to address the ball and almost tried to do your version of a knuckleball, I believe, my friend.
Yes, would you remember that? We had a discussion about knuckleball, about how you hit the ball on the valve. That was a long time ago now, Stuart. I don't know if our listeners will remember it. And we talked about it ahead of a Marcus Rashford free kick which flew into the net.
Indeed, obviously the valve was pointing in the wrong direction on this occasion with Basuma.
It certainly was by the time it left his foot. It's 0-0. You're listening to Talksport, and it's Crystal Palace who have had the two best chances in the game. Bukaria the busier of the two goalkeepers up until this point, but Tottenham have had the lion's share of possession, and they're in possession again. Over on the far side, the Tottenham left, lifted forward by Richarlison into the left channel for Son to attack into the penalty area, pulls it back. It's Maddison who's just worked his way out into a left wing position, twists and turns, and then stops again. He's got two in front of him, trying to put pressure on him. They're doubling up on him, and they've done well to dispossess him. Before they can release Edouard, there's a good tidying up from Basuma to win Tottenham possession back. Now Porro's got space for Kulusevski on this right-hand side. He moves in, produces across left-footed. Richarlison keeps it alive, comes back to Maddison, who tries to hit it, and he can't keep it down, and it goes behind the goal and away for a goal kick away to our right-hand side.
Good opportunity there. Great ball from Kulusevski to the far post. Richarlison kept it alive, and then the half volley by Maddison was never going to be under the crossbar. But just going back to Palace, Edouard's got to come alive a little bit quicker on the turnover of possession. He's got to come alive and start darting into channels and getting to receive the ball. Otherwise Palace won't get up the pitch.
Crystal Palace 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Palace have possession over on the far side. The long kick out by Johnson actually has been won by Ayew, but he can't feed Will Hughes in the right wing position, and across comes Christian Romero and tucks it out of play. In front of the Tottenham fans, a quite healthy number of them have made the journey tonight. I was on the train with one or two making the cross-capital trek. Not too difficult to get from Seven Sisters Road down on the Victoria line to Victoria, and a straight train to Selhurst, and then a little walk up. You went the other way, didn't you? Go Thornton Heath, didn't you?
I certainly did. It takes me past the Costa, that's why.
Oh, right, OK, gotcha. Here is Son running through the centre circle, plays it out towards the right. Kulusevski a couple of yards in from the right touchline, finds Pap Sarr. And now it's on to Kulusevski again, and he goes to halfway. Basuma keeps things moving, and Tottenham enjoying possession. Look how deep Maddison is, almost on the centre circle as Tottenham trying to push forward. The furthest player forward at this moment in time is Ben Davis in the left corridor. Son just behind him. There's a line of 4 white shirts attacking that back four, but they can't feed them at this moment in time because the Palace midfield, Stuart, is functioning reasonably well. It is.
It's functioning better today than it certainly did last week. Schlupp's quite happy on this left side of midfield, doing a lot of tireless work, and Ayew as well. He puts a shift in for his team.
Only 8 sides in Premier League history have won 23 points from their opening 9 fixtures. 4 of them went on to win the title. And that's the number of points that Tottenham have accumulated so far this season. Here is Romero playing it square, finding Mickey van der Ven, who was picked up in the summer for between 35 and 40 million pounds, depending on the add-ons. Richarlison gets the ball from Maddison, shoots down low, was always travelling wide and never really troubling Johnston, who went down, pulled his arms back because he knew it was sneaking past the post.
See, it's a little give and go like that from Richarlison. He's done quite well with the give and go to set up a decent area for himself on that sort of inside left position at the edge of the box, but then he's either got to hit the target or alternatively look for a 1-2 off the centre forward again.
Well, I think it's fair to say that so far this season, and he has, admitted himself, he's had some problems off the field which have affected him quite badly. An emotional character. He's missed 4 of the 5 big chances that have come his way so far are categorised as big chances. And I mentioned the statistic before the game about him not scoring in 18 Premier League starts for Tottenham. At this level, you wonder if that is good enough. Here is Jefferson Lerma, back to Anderson, spreading the play from right side to left with a lovely ball into Mitchell, who feeds Schlupp now, down by the byline, being tracked by Romero. Romero can't get the better of Schlupp, who does brilliantly to twirl past him, and then Romero recovers his footing and manages to get it infield towards Pedro Porro, who finds Kulusevski, and then with neat football, Tottenham break up over the halfway line. The danger is spotted by Gay, and he comes sliding across, putting it out in front of the dugout, and it's a Tottenham Hotspur throw, 0-0.
Well, fair to say that challenge by Gay was all or nothing. I think if Kulusevski would have got a little touch on that, there's certainly a yellow card coming his way.
We mentioned it a lot on Monday. Spurs' approach is the polar opposite this season to it was last year. They are taking the game to other teams rather than inviting other teams to come on to them.
I think they're an exciting team to watch this season, Tottenham. I've got to say they've come after this game a little bit at the cost at the back of being a little bit freer.
Pedro Porro, who had an opportunity to play that ball wide out to the left where Richarlison was in a huge amount of space. He played a slightly different ball towards the edge of the penalty area, and it's got cut out by Crystal Palace. But there was a big gap for Richarlison over on the far side had he has spotted it. Sarr takes it in midfield for Tottenham, who have dominated possession so far. Romero just over the halfway line. Remember, Ali McCoist and Andy Townsend back on the Talksport breakfast show on Monday morning, 6 o'clock. I wonder if any of the players out here tonight will get in their five-a-side team come Monday morning. Here is Basuma, good turn into Son, couldn't hold on to it, half cleared by Crystal Palace, and now a chance for Ayew to race over halfway down the right. He's got tracked by Richarlison, and double teamed by Mickey van der Ven, and a free kick has been given against Richarlison for his tackle from behind.
We just had a great incident there. If we'd have stopped play on the turnover of possession, which is probably directly level with us, maybe 35 metres from Palace's goal, they've turned the ball over. Edouard's come back to play. He's the furthest up the pitch. He should be darting diagonally into channels like Ollie Watkins would. That type of run would cause Tottenham a big problem because they're short of numbers at the back at that stage.
Watkins has had a very good start to the season. Is in action on Sunday. Aston Villa taking on Luton. That'll be part of the Sunday session. We'll keep you updated with that. Ball goes into the box. Half-hearted appeals for a handball as Anderson tries to keep it alive, but has overhit his pass forward after the initial ball forward from Hughes was recirculated. They are just holding on here just to see if there is a possible handball. And that's been dispatched pretty quickly. And certainly Pedro Porro's arm did come up, but it was well over his head before it was touched by him. It touched his back, I think, more than anything else. No penalty.
Yeah, good decision by the referee, or good decision being no decision.
Not always the best decisions, no decisions. Talksport live at Selhurst Park, and it's still goalless. Here is Sarr out wide on this near touchline with Kulusevski also in attendance. He plays it onto Sarr, who continues his run and he mispicks the ball. Complete air kick by Sarr. And that was certainly something that the Palace fans enjoyed as he went down the right, went to try and centre the ball. And it was a comical effort, really. We've all done it. Crystal Palace 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0. The latest odds are available at Ladbrokes, where right now you can get Crystal Palace to win 18-5, Tottenham 17-20, and the draw 21-10. It's all thanks to Ladbrokes 18+, begambleaware.org.
That's brought a little smile to Mr. Durham's face next to me.
A little smile.
It was like the Keystone Cops, weren't it? You know when you take a full swing and kick yourself on the back of the head?
He can hardly stop himself laughing. He's got a giggling fit going on. It's the worst feeling in the world when you do that when you're playing with your mates. Imagine what it's like doing it in front of millions in the Premier League.
I'd done it at Plough Lane once. Run into the right back position and ended up in the gravel track alongside, nursing my ego at the time.
Which is, as we well know, very small and, easily repairable. It's 0-0.
That was the only time I ever used my right foot, by the way. Once in 40 years. Yeah. Not bad.
Remember, it's just there for standing on, fella. Here is Maddison moving towards the edge of the penalty area. The good news is the left one's golden. Up to the halfway line. Porro stops Hughes in his tracks before he can get going again. Ben Davies pokes it out towards the left-hand side. Richarlison takes it on. Richarlison moves towards the left and then cuts in field, tries to release Maddison. Anderson comes across and tidies up. Brilliant defending by him, and they have been very good at that so far. Basuma went wiring into a challenge. The ball's deflected into the path of Maddison, whose cross into the near post is dealt with by Anderson, flicked into the air, and then he heads it further clear. Richarlison, God knows what he was trying to do, but it didn't come off. It then bounces into the path in the right back area of Ayew. His clearance back to Ward. Ward's clearance goes back to Basuma, and now Spurs are on the attack again. Maddison twisting and turning past Ward, stopping the ball and then coming in on his right foot, stopping it in front of Doucouré, producing a cross for the 6-yard box, which no one is there to capitalise on, and then Kulusevski retrieves it on the other side of the box. Still they come, Tottenham Hotspur, and Palace have got to hold firm here. Son dropping deep to pick the ball up, lays it back to Romero. He's got quite a few to aim at. Ben Davies is in a central position once again. The ball goes up into midfield. Anderson takes charge, heads it clear, and Van der Ven keeps the ball moving in a Tottenham direction. Richarlison, engaged by Ward, gets the last touch, goes out for a throw in, and the pressure's off.
You look in the Tottenham ranks here. Maddison is oozing personality as a footballer on the pitch. Richarlison not so much. It's incredible the lack of confidence that he's showing within himself at the moment.
Palace have the ball with Odsonne Edouard on halfway. Pops it square, finds Schlupp. He wants the return and he's unlucky not to get it because Romero just stepped across his path and it flicked off the back of his heel and was cleared away. Tottenham bring it clear. Basuma gets away from Lerma. Referee Andy Mabby played initially an advantage because he knew there was a handball, then decided to give a free kick just short of the centre circle, and Tottenham have possession anyway. We've played 27 minutes. It's Talksport, and one of the benefits to, I suppose, not being in the League Cup and in Europe is the ability to limit rotation, Stuart, and I suppose that allows new relationships to solidify, team ethic to form, and Tottenham, one of the sides that have made the fewest changes to their starting lineups. I know they're without the doggy tonight, but basically this team has been the team most of the season.
Yeah, fewest changes come with best results. Quite often they go hand in hand, and Tottenham look as though they're full of beans, to be quite honest with you, the way they've approached this game so far, but they've not created too many clear-cut efforts. And the only thing you'd say with Palace, I don't think they got the front two in Will Hughes and Edouard to really hurt them with pace in behind on the turnover.
I think Adrian mentioned it earlier that 2 of the 3 0-0s that we've seen so far in the Premier League have involved Crystal Palace this season. And their games are not an advert for entertainment. They've seen the fewest goals of matches involving any team in the Premier League this season. There's a Palace fan sitting beside me who's not impressed with that comment. In terms of goalmouth entertainment, shall we say it like that? Is that better? Yeah, OK, we'll take that. Only 18 goals in their matches up until this point. It's 0-0 here. And Tottenham looking for a breakthrough. It might be a difficult task for them tonight because they are stubborn, Crystal Palace, and you would expect that with a Roy Hodgson team. They perfected the art of nullifying the opposition.
The one thing he's got a team that are well drilled, well organised, and they do a shift for each other, Palace, to a man.
And let's be completely clear. If you're Roy Hodgson, how tricky is it for you when you're a team like Palace, you haven't got the biggest budget, and you're trying to compete missing talent like Eze and Elise for such a long period of time? You're not going to be able to create chances in the same vein that you would if they were in the starting 11.
That's very true.
Romero up to Sarr, now on to Pedro Porro, who's dispossessed by Jefferson Lerma, kept in by Kulusevski, although the assistant on this near side says that's not the case. Ray Lewington is very happy about that, and a throw-in is given to Crystal Palace, the home side, down in front of us. We saw Steve Parish earlier on giving interviews to the television before the start, and he's hoping to try and help Palace to build a new main stand, this stand that we're in, which sometimes comes with an obstructed view as Edouard tries to go through the middle of the pitch, and there does appear to have been a head injury inflicted on Christian Romero as he looked to escape, so Andy Medley has stopped the game. The Palace fans aren't happy about that. And Postecoglou is certainly not happy about the damage that was inflicted on his Argentine centre-half as he went to try and meet the ball. There was a bit of a shoulder barge by Edouard, and he did sort of catch the underside of Romero's chin with the top of his shoulder.
Yeah, a little gentle nudge there from the centre forward. I think you can tell the reaction from football fans that they do get frustrated when the game has stopped for every injury, not just head injuries. The game gets stopped for every injury, and the sooner we get the physios coming on while the game goes on, the better for me.
A bit like in the rugby.
Exactly that. If it's not in the penalty box or the 6-yard box, let the fourth official send the physio on, and all of a sudden you would clear up 80% of players being on the floor.
Well, they've tried to do that by, if you get treatment on the field of play and they've had to stop the game, then you have to go off for 30 seconds. That is now in the laws.
Which is a ludicrous law, so you could get cleared out by someone, they get booked, and all of a sudden you pay the penalty by being off for 30 seconds. Ludicrous.
It's not the only ludicrous bit of guidance that's been handed down, though, is it? Let's be completely clear. But it's there to act as a deterrent. It's one of those things that they've tried to bring in at the beginning of this season to stop people from time wasting, which has been their big thing. There's a foul on Van de Ven just short of the halfway line. That's stopped the game as well, and the referee's not happy about the challenge.
I'm going to make a statement here. The referees waste more time than any of the players by stopping play every 2 minutes, seeing if the player's injured, if it's not an head injury.
Well, the physios are being called on to deal with Mickey Van de Ven, and he doesn't look particularly comfortable, but you can't really judge anything now by the reaction. You do hope it's not as serious as it looks on the field of play. He's holding his face and rolling around. The physios are on, and it's given everybody else an opportunity to have a bit of a drinks break. You're listening to Talksport. We're live at Selhurst Park. And England against Belgium is live over on Talksport 2, with Lauren Hemp giving England the lead at the King Power Stadium. Joe Shannon and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk continue their commentary right now. Tomorrow, Chelsea-Brentford starts our game day, 12:30. Bournemouth against Burnley, 3 p.m. Talksport 2. Around the grounds with Adrian at the same time on Talksport. And Sunday session comes from Old Trafford. There's a championship game live on Talksport 2 on Sunday afternoon and Monday evening as well, and of course we'll keep you in touch with all of that on Talksport. Shall we dip into the rugby and find out how England are getting on with Andrew McKenna?
It is 13-3 in favour of England at the moment. We're just coming up to the half-an-hour mark, and that now becomes 16-3 as Owen Farrell is successful with his fourth kick of the game. 3 penalties and the conversion for Ben Earls. Powerful run from 15 metres out. Then after only 8 minutes, Argentina on the board with the Buffelli penalty, but so far so good for England. 16-3 after half an hour.
Looks like England are heading for bronze, and Mickey Van de Ven is back about to come back on. He's up on his feet. He's had his 30 seconds off the pitch on the far side. We're back underway. Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, he's just been booted across the knee, and they can be particularly painful with the nerve just under the knee. And for the privilege, he's got to stay off the pitch now.
I'm pleased we came up with that just before this happened so that you could rant about it. Here is Sarr on the halfway line. He's back on now, Van der Ven. The Crystal Palace fans aren't going to be sending him too many Christmas cards, I don't think. Here on the right side, Pedro Porro plays it against Mitchell, not once but twice, and then loses the ball. It comes back via Papsar, won by Kulusevski. There's a tangle of legs with Schlupp just over halfway. Kulusevski's kept hold of it well. Mitchell's followed him, but he's released the ball to Ben Davies. Left side now is Richarlison, halfway inside Palace territory. Back square it goes to Bissouma. In the number 10, wearing the number 10, Maddison, but he's run into traffic, lost the ball, and now a chance to break. And Doucouré's taken a long time to release it. As a result of that, Spurs have flex numbers back very quickly. Ayew on the right hand side eventually loses the ball, and it comes back to halfway where Joel Ward is waiting for it. 0-0.
Yeah, we just had a great example once there of Edouard. Once again, he likes to come back and be part of the build, where in
Ayew trying to get round the back of the defence, but Van der Ven is there and he's quicker, and he helps it out of playing away for a corner. The first corner of the game.
Yeah, as I saying, Edouard likes to be part of the build-up play, so naturally he comes to the ball to show himself. In games like this, with the way Tottenham are playing, your first reaction is to be away from the ball, in behind the opposition's defence.
Palace have a corner over on the far side, and it's going to be Will Hughes who takes it. Places the ball down in the corner. He's taking his time over that as Palace line up with 5 players just around the penalty spot, 3 and then 2 either side, and then 1 under the goalkeeper. As the ball comes into the box, Bissouma flicks it into the air, drops into the arms of Vicario, and it'll be easily cleared by Tottenham. And Vicario was tempted to sprint and whack that clear up towards Son, but decided against it, held on to the ball, gave it to Maddison, who was rolled possession on the edge of the box, and then Tottenham look to build. Bissouma finds Porro, then Porro pings it forward, beautiful ball into Son, he takes it down well. Papsar then plays it back wide towards Richarlison. Maddison's now broke his neck to get into the box, and Son's in there as well. Richarlison's still got it on the left side of the area, chips it up for Kulusevski. It's a bit behind him, but he keeps hold of it inside the area, being marshalled by Mitchell. He's taken wide by Mitchell, lays it back up for Porro. Porro comes infield, then it's on to Papsar, and Tottenham keeps circulating the ball well and keep possession. Still 0-0, but they're probing here. Mickey Van der Ven down the left into Richarlison. First time ball round the corner for Davis, who tries to centre it, takes a deflection. Son went to go, hesitated, and by the time it squirmed through into the 6-yard box, he couldn't go again with any speed to get there, and it's gobbled up by Johnston. Yeah,
a little bit of spin on the ball there. It took a deflection off Anderson, and the spin was quite kind, to be quite honest with you, to Johnson. But you're right, if Son would have been on the front foot, he might have just got there before the keeper.
Well, if Tottenham win here, that will be some achievement. Palace have only lost 2 of the last 14 at home since Spurs beat them here by 4-0 in January. And they're a solid outfit here, especially under Roy Hodgson. Here's Bissouma on halfway, a flick to the right, it's collected by Porro, into Son, takes it down well, beats Gurhey, gives it to Maddison, across comes Lerma, does brilliantly, and gets the ball back to his goalkeeper. And there was a collision on the edge of the box anyway. I think Maddison has been penalised for a foul on Lerma, and he can't quite believe that.
No, there was a couple of deflections, and it ended up falling to Maddison on the edge of the box, and as he's about to pull his foot back, he was tackled by Lerma. And I'm not sure what really Maddison's done then. I'm not sure that's a free kick to Palace.
Well, it's been given as a free kick to Crystal Palace with 8 minutes to go before the break, and it's going to be dispatched upfield by Sam Johnson. He's perfectly found Schlupp, who's looking to take on Porro's defensive work is brilliant, and he puts it behind and away for a corner. And there's just something in the air, really, for Crystal Palace. They're starting to think that they might well get a big chance before half-time. They have tested Vicario twice already.
I think this is the game plan, isn't it, for Palace? They defended well, they're well organised, they've worked really hard, They've stopped Tottenham getting too many clear-cut opportunities and forced a few corners of their own and had opportunities on the counter-attack.
39 gone, and it's Will Hughes again, left-footed with his blonde hair shining under the floodlights, delivering a cross in towards Anderson, headed into the air, no real contact on that, comes back out to Doucouré's, hit it straight at a melee of white shirts, and it's bounced toward far side, picked up by Lerma, who just nudges it into the right wing position. It's heavy, you will get there just about, takes it back towards the corner flag, then looks to turn away from Porro, produces a cross into the near post, taken down by Edouard and then thundered away by Richarlison. He couldn't turn quick enough.
I think Edouard's taken it right off the foot of Guéhi, and a little tap of the palms suggested, look, if you'd have let that go, I could have had a volley on my hands.
Well, it was good work from Ayew actually to twist his way into a position where he could cross the ball. He did that, and you're right, Guéhi was waiting just behind him. Edouard took it down and took it away from danger, and then it was hooked clear by Richarlison and out for another corner.
I think a lot of the headlines have been grabbed by the likes of Eze and Alessi, but Ayew's done extremely well the last couple of years for Palace.
Ball in by Hughes, punched away by Vicario, comes back out to Joel Ward, whose shot goes further away from the goal, actually closer to the corner flag than it was to the goal. It's chipped back in by Edouard towards the far post. Hughes is underneath it, heads it against Richarlison, spills out on the other side. Hughes chases it, tries to turn again. Richarlison puts it out. It's another corner, and the momentum is building for Crystal Palace.
It certainly is. Decent play then. Ward cleared it very well for Tottenham, but sadly he's in a Palace shirt. But they managed, apart from that, they sustained the attack.
He's 34 this weekend, Joel Ward. It was about 34 yards wide a goal. Here is Will Hughes in towards the near post, and it's headed away by Romero, touched by Doucouré to the edge of the box, shot by Ward, takes a deflection, goes out over the bar, and another corner kick.
Great little layoff by Doucouré there, come to him on the edge of the box, up about waist height, and you thought, what's he going to do with it? Is he going to get a shot away? He cushioned a beautiful header to his right hand side to Ward to get an effort away.
Another big chance for Crystal Palace, who have certainly grown into the game, and set pieces have been their friends so far. 4 minutes to go before the break, and Will Hughes standing over it once more. There are 6 shirts to aim at in the centre. It's aimed in towards Anderson, and he flicks the ball goalwards, and it's over the top of the crossbar. I just wonder whether or not there's another Crystal Palace body that just got in front of him there, Jefferson Lerma, which maybe stopped him from getting clean contact on the ball.
Yeah, they've almost took each other out the game. And Will Hughes was saying to himself, please don't go for another corner on the other side again.
He's done more work going from one side than the other than he has throughout the course of the rest of the 42 minutes we've played. Trying the rugby for Andrew McKenna.
Argentina's best passage of the game has resulted in Thomas Cubelli, the Argentina scrum half, diving over from close range. It was converted by Buffelli, so it's 16-10 in favour of England with 2 minutes to play of this first half.
Hasn't really been Richarlison's night so far, just given the ball away on halfway, and it's out for a throw on the far side of Crystal Palace. Ange Postecoglou wrapped up in his smart overcoat tonight. I don't think that's the same Mac that he was wearing on Monday night. Here is Pedro Porro in the right fullback position. Up over the halfway line it goes. It's won by Gay and then chipped down that left side. It's away by Romero. In the right fullback position, Porro picks it up, but the squeeze is on from Crystal Palace, and they've got to get the clearance right. Basuma wriggling away from Will Hughes is dragged to the floor, and a free kick given inside the Spurs half of the field. It's not been a swashbuckling game, but there's been moments in it that have been entertaining, Stuart.
Yeah, it's been more so a tactical sort of intrigue of a game, I would say. You know,
great word.
The positional play of Spurs and the questions they're asking of this Palace team. Palace very resolute in their formation, but they've had opportunities on the counter-attack where I'm not sure they got the personnel at the point of their team. The centre-forward, Edouard, who's happy to run in behind and as soon as the turnover occurs, and that will hurt Tottenham.
Palace do have the exciting youngster Matthias Francer on the bench available to them, but Roy Hodgson reluctant to use him from the start despite a good cameo last week against Newcastle and a good performance in the under-21 game earlier in the week where he played 45 minutes. Edouard picks the ball up, runs over halfway, he's dragged to the floor by Pape Sarr, and the referee has allowed play on quickly, and they've taken the free kick sharply, Crystal Palace, and they're moving the ball out towards the right-hand side, and then they've gone backwards rather than forwards, and it's gone all the way back to the goalkeeper, and that didn't come off as planned initially. Johnston forward, and Romero will mop that up on halfway. Porro guides it back to him. I wonder whether or not Pape Sarr could have been booked for that challenge. He wasn't, and we play on.
And Ray Lewington was absolutely livid with the fact that that free kick didn't go forward and ended up back at their goalkeeper.
It's going to be 2 minutes of added time at the end of the first half, and we eventually get to the 45-minute mark. Romero just short of halfway, square, onto Mickey van der Ven. And Richarlison was on the starters blocks and ready to dart in behind, but the ball didn't come his way. A foul on Maddison by Jordan Ayew over on that far side. And the free kick given 4 yards inside opposition territory. Maddison, Romero, centre circle, onto Bissouma, who comes infield and then shuffles it back into the path of Van der Ven. He then sends it down the left, and it's a nice ball in towards Maddison. Maybe just a little bit too much on it. He's going to run behind. And Maddison gives up the ghost. It goes out and away for a goal kick.
Yeah, unlucky that. It was a near miss for a really, really good pass by Van der Ven there. As I say, he struck it straight down the channel, but just too much pace on it for Maddison.
Spoke to Son on Monday night, and he was in really good form actually. He was smiley and happy and very articulate about the setup. I said, what has the impact been of the new manager Ange Postecoglou? And he just looked at me and he just went, oh, he's special. And certainly the feeling around the training ground at this moment in time is one of positivity. There's certainly a different mood. There was a cloud hanging over the place in the last few months of the Conte era. Obviously they made a change towards the end of the campaign, but this year things are a lot brighter at Spurs.
I think that's reflected in Son himself, isn't it? He's been, well, off the pace last season, it's fair to say. I mean, he's one of their key players and has been for a long, long time, and this season he seems full of confidence.
Almost a pass from Romero, which was cut out by Edouard, but still Tottenham have the ball on the halfway line. Maddison into Bissouma, and then he turns it back to Romero. Romero over halfway, out wide to Pedro Porro, back in again. A slip by Kulusevski at the vital moment allows Lerma to come across and put it out. It's away for a throw to Tottenham, who are progressing down this near side nicely, but have yet to really test Sam Johnson in the game, really. In fact, I don't think they've had a proper attempt on goal that Johnson's had to make a save from. At the other end, Vicario has certainly been the busier of the two goalkeepers, despite Tottenham's dominance of possession. Here's Pedro Porro into Kulusevski, tries to get in down the right-hand side, finds Pedro Porro, steers it centrally, blocked well by Doucouré, comes back out towards Sarr, who floats it to the far post. Johnson comes out, grabs in the sky, does a good job and holds on to it for Crystal Palace.
I think it's one of these games, Sam, where both managers go into the dressing room, and Tottenham will say, we're away from home, we're at Palace, not an easy place, we're in the game, not a problem, keep probing, it'll come. And Palace will say, look, we conceded a hatful last week and we're a totally different team this week, and we're going to get chances on the counter.
Well, the best saves of the match have been made by the Tottenham goalkeeper. Crystal Palace have not lost two back-to-back games since the return of Roy Hodgson, so they were always going to prove tricky opposition. This might be a good test of Tottenham's credentials. At half-time, it's Crystal Palace 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0.
And Postecoglou with hands thrust into his jacket pockets as he heads towards the tunnel in the corner, just hugs one of the opposition, actually, as he heads towards the corner. I think that was Odsonne Edouard he was giving a big hug to, but perhaps thanking him for not scoring. Yeah, Palace have had the better chance. I don't think Spurs have had anything on target, to be honest with you, and frankly I've got to say, I'm a little bit. I know you said they were full of beans, Stuart Pearce, early in the first half, Tottenham, and they were. There was energy there, no doubt about it. But I'm a little bit disappointed with Spurs tonight.
Well, I would be disappointed certainly with their cutting edge. I think, you know, they've got in and around the last third of Palace, but not opened them up as yet. They've had passes that have just been too far in front, and when Maddison did get in on that left-hand side, he should have pulled it back a little bit earlier for a tap-in from Son, but delayed, and then played it behind him. So they've just been off a little bit, I would say. But this game's there for either team to win.
I know Sam loves XG. I'm not sure if you're a fan, Stuart, but an XG of 0.13 for Spurs, even though they've had 72% possession. What can they do to break Crystal Palace down?
Well, I'm not sure 100% whether what he's trying to do with the fullbacks is actually working and affecting Palace, because Palace is so well drilled in the shape that they're in. It's almost a 4-4-2 shape. They drop back in, the fullbacks going inside and playing in as sort of, let's say, central midfield players almost. That suits Palace because they can tuck their wingers in, Ayew and Schlupp tuck in to Markham, and they look even more condensed as an 8 to play through. So it might be, they might even have to go back to keeping your fullbacks wide in a traditional position to drag those midfield players out. What will that do? It opens up more space for Maddison in the middle of the pitch.
Well, they've come back from not being in great positions, from losing positions even, never mind drawing positions, Tottenham, with Postecoglou changing things. So let's see what he does at half-time. But listen, we were talking about Palace not scoring many goals. I mean, early in the first half, they have tested Vicario. One was straight at him, another forced a great save. Yeah. You know, so they've actually, I was thinking, who can they bring on to make changes and be a bit more threatening, but they have threatened.
They certainly have, and for me, Eduardo holds the key to this, because they've had turnovers, probably about 3 or 4 situations where Eduardo as a centre forward, his natural game is when Palace pick the ball up behind him and he's looking back at play, looking back at his own goal, he gets drawn and says, well, play into my feet, I want it, this is what I do as a centre forward. What Palace need tonight is another type of centre forward, that when he's watching play and watching his team defend, what he's got to do is say, I'm just going to drift into a position here, because if it breaks down, I'm going to set sail into that channel over the back of Tottenham's back line, because they're pushing both fullbacks on, so they've got 2 centre-halves covering the whole width of the pitch. That's when you get in.
Quick word on the referee. There's been no yellow cards. I think there's been a couple of moments, one for each side, where they were going to break away and a foul was committed. No yellow card. Now, some people might say, well, you don't want to flash yellows around and all that, but actually that's a moment that potentially weakens a team, won't want to put in another challenge, could allow the opposition in for a goal in the second half. If somebody's on a yellow, they don't want to commit to a challenge or something like that. I don't know, there seems to be a lack of consistency with these yellow cards. For me, there were 2 clear yellow cards there, stopping breakaways.
What I would say is there's consistency within this game. Now, that's all you want as a player. If you're going to book me for bringing someone down, book the opponent as well. He's not done that for either. I can live with that as a player. I would commend him rather than vilify him for it, because I think there's been too many games this year that the result has hinged on a red card, a sending off, or a yellow card and another yellow card. I want it to be the best team wins all the time.
Can I just clarify? It wasn't a vilification, it was an observation. Okay, is that all right?
Did I use the word vilification?
Not quite, but it was a derivative of that word. Try putting it in the second half commentary.
I think every time I turn up, I just want a referee to be consistent in his decisions for that 90 minutes. I think he has.
And you're spot on. That's a great way of explaining it. It's not a vilification at all. Stuart, for the time being, thank you very much. Half-time in the rugby for England in the bronze final. Andrew McKenna.
England 16, Argentina 10. England started the game well, and when Ben Earl barrelled his way over from about 15 metres out in only the 8th minute, he made it England 8-0, and Farrell added the conversion to make it 10-0. 2 more penalties from Owen Farrell has made it at 16-3 after Buffelli got one back from Argentina. But Argentina got more and more into the game, and they crossed the line on the 35th minute. Thomas Cabelli, the scrum half, diving over from close range. It does have to be said, though, that about 3 passes before Kibali got the ball, the pass out to the left-hand side looked an absolute mile forward. None of the officials were interested, so it was into the scorebook, and therefore England had defensive work to do. They've done pretty well in the first 40 minutes. Owen Farrell's looked lively, Marcus Smith as well, but maybe the one work on, Henry Arundel is arguably the most dangerous runner in the England side, and he's not had a single touch of the ball in the first 40 minutes. Been some good performances, that's why England are in front, but there are little areas for Steve Borthwick to work on. Sam Underhill, by the way, in his first appearance in this World Cup after arriving as an injury replacement, has had an absolutely sensational game on the open side flank. He has tackled absolutely everything that has moved. Half-time, England 40 minutes away from finishing third at Rugby World Cup 2023. They lead Argentina 16-10.
And in the Gallagher Premiership tonight, it's Gloucester 3, Saracens 14. Now with the Manchester derby coming up on Sunday, Talksport's launched the perfect pub quiz. This Sunday 6 p.m. you can head down to your local pub and take part in Talksport's brand new pub quiz. Loads of prizes up for grabs for the winning team, from a round of beers to the grand prize of £500. All you have to do is head to pubquiz.com/Talksport. That's pubquiz.com/Talksport to find your nearest participating pub and head down on Sunday. Get yourself involved. Right now, let's get the halftime odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
So it's Palace 0, Spurs 0 at half-time. For the latest odds, head to Ladbrokes, where right now you can get Palace to win 19-5, the draw 11-8, Spurs 6-5. Next goal scorer odds on Edouard is not odds on. He's 13-2. Son 4-1. Maddison 5-1. And a special Maddison to score from outside the area was 8-1. Now 12-1. That was the latest odds with Ladbrokes. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
And don't forget to tune in to our live watch along tomorrow as heavyweights Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou finally face off in Saudi Arabia.
Your name's not down, you're not coming in.
No Talksport is covering any fights of Tyson anymore.
Your name's not down, you're not coming in.
Talksport will never have anything to do with Tyson again.
You're not banned. Who says you're banned? I don't know where you get this band from.
Your name's not down, you're not coming in.
If someone's got an issue with fighting Ngannou, then I'm not really bothered.
The Gypsy King, Tyson Fury!
Talksport not welcome at
They're not welcome.
Your name's not down, you're not coming in.
Tyson Fury is still the WBC heavyweight champion of the world.
He's probably the best heavyweight out there at the minute.
This fight really has piqued my imagination.
Not tonight, you're not on the list.
Well, we may not be allowed there in person, but bothered. Tune in to Talksport this Saturday from 9 p.m. for our Fury against Ngannou watch along with Adam Cattrall, Spencer Oliver and heavyweight Johnny Fisher as well. You can listen on the radio via the Talksport app or watch the live stream on the Talksport YouTube channel. Watch the Misfits Talksport's YouTube channel live stream, and that was superb. It's a great watch. So make sure you tune into that Talksport's YouTube channel. Just some football tonight. Dundee United 3-0 up on Arbroath in the Scottish Championship. Malt Doxey and young Kai Fotheringham with the goals in the first half. Queen's Park 0, Partick 1. Stephen Lawless in first half injury time. Lionesses on Talksport 2 are 1-0 up against Belgium. Lauren Hemp and Scotland 2 down in the same Nations League group away to the Netherlands. That boxing, by the way, the watch along is tomorrow night. Tonight we're at Selhurst Park, where it's currently goalless between Palace and Spurs. Finally poised. Second half next on Talksport.
Game night on Talksport with Now. Stream all the Sky Sports action like Crystal Palace versus Tottenham live tonight for $11.99, no contract. Search Now Sports. 18 plus. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
Rodri to De Bruyne, flicked onto Walker. Goal! No one saw that coming.
Or as we say in Japan, no warutaka wa tsume o kakusu. The smart hawk hides its talents. For a taste beyond expected, Asahi Super Dry, official beer partners of Manchester City. Enjoy responsibly. Visit drinkaware.co.uk.
Fridays just became free days with Freebie Friday exclusively on Just Eat. Get more from your grocery shop on Fridays with free Sainsbury's Red Seedless Grapes, Co-op fresh spinach and ricotta tortelloni, 2-litre Pepsi Max from Iceland, plus more from Asda, One Stop and your hometown heroes. Freebie Friday. We got it.
Did somebody say just it?
Subject to availability in store serving times. Participating stores only. Check the free item and required minimum spend on the store page. Promotion runs on Fridays. Participating brands and free items may vary weekly. See justeat.co.uk for details. With the transfer window closed, it's now properly game on. Get the ultimate football coverage with the Sun's free pull-out goals. With the best writers pitchside for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals. And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League Two, it has to be goals! Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday only in the Sun.
Don't miss out on the Mega Screwfix app giveaway where you could win a year's free shopping at Screwfix. There's also thousands of other prizes to be won, and every time you order on the app in October, you'll be entered. So you may find when you order some workwear, you might also get a holiday voucher, or ordering a toolbox might get you an Xbox. The Mega Screwfix app giveaway. Prizes are drawn every Monday. Download and order now. For full T's and C's, visit screwfix.com.
There will be 14 minutes of extra time.
With Betfair's new 90-minute payout, you don't have to wait for the final whistle to celebrate, because your winning bet will be paid out in full at 90 minutes. Betfair.
Applies to match odds 90 market or markets with the 90 icon. Sportsbook exclusive. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Watching the big game cozied up in the snug.
Another 7-0 win!
Balmy summer nights with the kids playing on the lawn.
We're playing real-life football!
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of June 2022 and 30th of September 2022 is under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
Talk about a blast from the past. The 1990s. When McDonald's started using 100% British and Irish beef in our burgers. Back when you actually had to leave the house and head to the arcade if you wanted to play a game with your mates. What a time. It's just one of the little changes McDonald's have been constantly making to the way we source and produce our food over the years. McDonald's. Change a little, change a lot.
Loud, liberating and live.
Game day. More live football on a Friday night.
And it's in!
Game day countdown live.
On Talksport.
What a big weekend we've got on Talksport. It starts under the lights at Selhurst Park. Ward funnels it forward. It comes on the edge of the box for Edouard, and he shoots and down low to his left. Vicario makes another save. Here is Will Hughes in towards the near post, and it's headed away by Romero. Touched by Doucouré to the edge of the box. Shot by Ward, takes a deflection, goes out over the bar. And now Spurs are on the attack again. Maddison twisting and turning past Ward, stopping the ball and then coming in on his right foot. Producing a cross for the 6-yard box, which no one is there to capitalise on.
Maddison is oozing personality as a footballer on the pitch. Richarlison not so much.
Well, Queen's Park have equalised against Partick in the Scottish Championship 1-1. Dundee United get a fourth against Arbroath. Tony Watt, he was the man who got the winner for Celtic against Barcelona in 2011 in the Champions League, believe it or not. And Sam mentioned in the first half, Premiership Rugby. We've got some of that live on Sunday on Talksport 2. Newcastle against Northampton. Andrew McKenna and the former Newcastle forward Mike McCarthy commentating on that one. Spurs haven't even hit the target tonight. Can they put that right in the second half? Live and exclusive on Talksport. It's Palace 0, Spurs 0. Here's former England captain Stuart Pearce alongside Talksport's chief football commentator Sam Matface.
I'm not sure that Ange Postecoglou had to repeat his trick of Monday night and give them a half-time rollicking, but I think he would have asked them to just up it a little bit in the second half as we get underway here at Selhurst Park, with Spurs making a change, and that change coming at left back. And the man who came on for a doggy midway through the second half on Monday night, Emerson Royale, has now gone to left back in place of Ben Davies. I'll get Stuart's viewpoint on that in just a second, but do you think he would have executed the same plan as he did on Monday and just tried to get them going a little bit more in the second half?
Yeah, I think he'd want to touch more from Tottenham. So they've not shown the goal threat at this moment in time. I'm wondering why he's changed Davis, whether there was an injury. Alternatively, Davis has not been as effective when he's gone into that midfield area. And also as well, out of the Tottenham back four, I've got to say, I think Ayew caused Davis the odd problem down that side of the pitch, and that could have been, maybe he thinks this is a better option defensively.
It might be the pace, it might be that after missing the squad on Monday night with a knock, he's actually suffered a recurrence of that. But he is on Emerson Royale in place of Ben Davis, and the ball is over on the far side. I'll go through the 2-11s for you in just a second. Kulusevski has found Basuma to Sarr, tight to the right touchline. The cross into the boxes towards Madison is kneed away into the air by Anderson. Drops on the right wing position for Pedro Porro, and then it's out on the far side. They've kept it in, Spurs, and they've kept the ball circulating and doing so well. This is Emerson Royale back towards the halfway line. It's collected now by Van de Ven, and the two teams, Sam Johnson, the goalkeeper of Palace, the back four, Ward, Anderson, Gay and Mitchell. In midfield, Lerma and Doucouré, Hughes behind, Schlupp, Edouard and Ayew. And Tottenham coming forward with their goalkeeper as Vicario. The right back is Porro, Romero and Van de Ven in the centre. The left back is now Emerson Royale. Sarr and Basuma holding, with Madison in the 10, Kulusevski, Son and Richarlison going forward. And here on the right side for Tottenham as they come on the attack is Pedro Porro. Out wide right, low cross into the near post, tucked away by Gay. It's retrieved by Romero in opposition territory, and Tottenham probe and look as if they're coming forward. Crystal Palace are more potent in the second half of games than they are in the first. 10 of their 11 goals this season have come after the break, and they're on the break now with the ball in behind towards Edouard, but Mickey van der Ven was outpacing Edouard when Edouard ended up colliding with his feet and a free kick was given against him. Ball chipped forward by Spurs, quickly down the right hand side. It doesn't reach Madison, but it does get picked up by Kulusevski. He funnels it down the right. The cross from Porro takes a flick towards goal, and we can go off to Andrew McKenna, who's got details of 2 tries in the rugby.
Horrible start to the second half for England. Santi Carreras, the man who plays for Gloucester, got the ball 28 metres out, glided through 4 defenders to score. Buffelli converted that, so Argentina were in the lead 17-16, but it lasted seconds from the restart. Carreras' kick was charged down by Theo Dan, the England hooker, regathered the ball, followed it up and put it down for the try. Farrell has converted, so we're back as we were. England have a 6-point lead. They're 23-17 up. We played 5 minutes of the second half.
Back here, it's still 0-0. Emerson Royale and Ayew tugging one another. Royale was the most tugged, according to the assistant on this near side. Free kick given in the left full-back position.
Yeah, the referee there, he's tried to let a free kick go, credit to him, a couple of seconds earlier, but all of a sudden Royale ended up going back towards his own goal, and probably Ayew got him out of trouble a little bit there by making a half foul, so he's give that one because he played on. And we just saw earlier, Sam, Edouard spinning and going in behind, and the importance of Van der Ven and his pace. It was one-on-one there.
Yes, it was brilliant pace. I said it was Bugatti-like pace on Monday night. He certainly revved the engine, and his acceleration is impressive, isn't it? And he got away from Edouard very quickly.
It certainly wasn't the acceleration of a beaten-up old black Kia.
Is that what you drive?
Yes.
Thanks for that. Here is Papsar out towards the right-hand side. I was looking at a 1970s Escort earlier. Anyway, another discussion. It's very cool. I think you'd like it.
I think I had a couple.
Yeah.
Not recently, though.
Nil-nil. Here is Romero out towards the right side. Kulusevski takes over, keeps it in by the right touchline and tries to attack the penalty area. Goes one way past Gahey, tries to cross the ball low into the near post. It's blocked by the retreating Mitchell and goes behind and away for a corner kick over on the far side. That was good work from Kulusevski.
Really good play, really good wing play, but I tell you what, a feature of this Palace team, they get players in the right slots, filling the penalty box really, really well.
Well, Kulusevski's wasted that corner kick over on the far side. He and Maddison tried to play a short one, and Will Hughes was alert to the danger, and he stopped them from progressing with it. It's gone out for a throw-in to Crystal Palace down by that corner flag. It was a bit of a waste, actually, and on a night where they haven't been able to get the ball into the box easily, that was an opportunity.
It certainly was, and you might just have to get a goal from a set play. You know, on nights like tonight, a set play might well decide this game one way or the other.
Well, you remember in the first half they had a set play on the edge of the penalty area, and it was left by Maddison for Basuma to strike, and and that's still going over the top of the Holmesdale Road end, that one from earlier. And you're right, tonight is one of those nights where you might need a dead ball situation to go your way in order to get 3 points.
Yep, and it's often the case many times.
Basuma in the middle of the park combines with Richarlison, but he gives the ball away, and Ayew then picks it off and runs down the left. There's space here for Schlupp, who gets beyond the defender. Porro dived in, it's through the 6-yard box, it takes a deflection, it's cleared eventually from the edge of the 6-yard box by Emerson Royale, and it just wouldn't quite fall for Crystal Palace. Kulusevski at the other end now, trying to attack. He tries to outpace Gay. Gay does very well. Not only does he win the ball, but he keeps it on the far side and puts them on the front foot. That was good defending by the England man.
Yeah, top quality defending there. He wasn't panicked in any way, shape or form, stood on his feet and just put a challenge in akin to Bobby Moore against Pelé many years ago.
That's some comparison, that. Maddison takes the ball off Johnston's toes inside the penalty area, but Gay is there and gets the benefit of a lucky bounce and puts it out of play and away for a throw-in, and Johnston apologises to his England and Crystal Palace colleague for putting him in the spot of dodge.
Well, I've got to say, if you've defended this stoutly, don't give a cheap goal away.
Papsar down the right, plays the ball into the penalty area. Maddison across the face of goal, and it's turned into his own net by Joel Ward. And Tottenham Hotspur have the lead. 53 minutes on the clock. And Spurs grab the moment and grab the advantage. Crystal Palace switch off for the first time tonight. James Maddison at the heart of it. They go down the right-hand side. They beat the first defender. Papsar did very well. He pulled it back from the byline to Maddison, whose shot towards goal might have been a cross, but it deflected off Gay and went past Johnston. And it's 1-0 to Tottenham Hotspur.
Well, the shot was going miles past the far post, I've got to say, from Maddison. He's hit it well. He struck it firmly. And Ward lost his bearings slightly, ended up trying to get a touch on it some way, shape or form, and deflected it in his own goal. But all of that, Sam, has come from the goalkeeper getting caught out and Tottenham forcing a throw-in from the goalkeeper, Johnston, being caught on the ball.
Yeah, they didn't punish him initially. It went out of play, and it was the next phase of play that followed that, which then caused Crystal Palace the grief. And when the ball went to the byline, Papsar, who's got beyond a couple of times down that right-hand side and pulled it back, Maddison just edged off his marker, dragged the ball through the 6-yard box. It was really a hit and hope. It wasn't going on target, and Ward ended up turning it inadvertently into his own net. And Tottenham Hotspur lead, and they lead by a 1-0. And sometimes when you're not playing at your very best, but you are a team that is starting to contend, these things go your way.
They certainly are. There's such small margins in the game this day and age. There's no doubt about that. And Tottenham have stayed in the game and ended up getting the opportunity, albeit from a very poor own goal.
Tottenham Hotspur have given the ball away themselves now, and Edouard is coming forward, and Hughes has gone through the middle, but Edouard's attempted effort takes a deflection, goes over the top of the crossbar and goes out for a corner. And you would have thought that after seeing what happened at the other end to a sloppy piece of play in front of your own goal, that Tottenham would have learnt the lesson. They didn't. Basuma gave it straight back, and it goes out for a corner on this near side.
Yeah, I just would have liked to have seen Edouard come alive a little bit sharper than he actually did. He got on the ball in a really good opportunity and then just delayed, bumbled through a couple of players, and in the end it got his shot away, but it was never going to be on target.
55 on the clock as the cross comes in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Oh, it's flick on by Gay, and it's wide. Narrowly wide. It came through a crowd of players and he just emerged as an option. He flicked his head at it, but it was well wide of the goal.
Yeah, another top quality ball in there by Will Hughes. Good movement by Palace and a little flicked header. They've had first contact on a few occasions now, haven't they? Just haven't managed to either hit the target or get on the secondary.
England against Belgium continues over on Talksport 2 with Joe Shannon and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. We've got Talksport 2 commentary for you tomorrow at the bottom of the Premier League. Bournemouth against Burnley, that's 3 p.m. Chelsea-Brentford starts game day 11 o'clock. We'll be there with Reshmin Chowdhury and Scott Minto, giving you full coverage of that West London derby. Just 4.5 miles separate Chelsea and Brentford, and then Adrian will take you round the ground straight afterwards in the Premier League and beyond. The fastest goal service on the dial. Here is Romero up towards halfway, back from Porro to goalkeeper Vicario. Now it's on to Van der Ven, and then back into Basuma, who's just short of the halfway line. Square it goes to the right side, and Romero, he takes a couple of steps towards halfway. Maddison's made a dart between the two centre-backs. He wasn't the chosen option for Romero, who goes shorter to Pap Sarr instead, who's had another good game actually at the heart of midfield. He had a bit of an illness at the on Monday night, and it did affect him in the second half of that game, so had to be withdrawn. But he's been all action again tonight, and he's really made an impact, been allowed to flourish under Ange Postecoglou. Basuma, square to Emerson Royale. The referee, it hit him. The referee's got to stop the game there, and he knows it. As soon as it hits the referee now, an uncontested drop ball has to be given. No point Joachim Andersen protesting his innocence. That it doesn't matter, or protesting that they could have had the advantage. It has to be stopped, and it is. And it's Tottenham's ball on halfway. Van der Ven out to the left-hand side. Emerson Royale trying to steal away past Ayew, drags him back. It's going to be a free kick just in front of the halfway line. Roy Hodgson doesn't really like Tottenham. His old mate Sir Alex would have sort of shrugged them off as a non-entity, but they've always proved tricky for Roy. This is his 21st meeting with Spurs in the Premier League. He's only ever won once, and that was with Fulham 15 years ago. That's a bogey team. Ball given away by Basuma again, and now here come Crystal Palace with Schlupp trying to burst down the left-hand side. It's a good sliding tackle by Pap Sarr over on the far side, and then it's chucked back towards his own goal by Doucouré. Johnston has it under pressure from Son, floats it out towards the near side, chested down by Ward, over the top on the right-hand side. The ball is with Ayew. Ayew now trying to get beyond Emerson Royale. Emerson Royale does well, stabs it out, it's away for a throw.
Yeah, I still feel as though Ayew's going to have to play a part if Palace are going to get back in this game. He for me, is going to be the threat. I don't think that there's too much coming from the bench that Royce can think to himself, hang on a minute, this is going to really change it for us.
Jezrak Zaki is about to come on. Had a brilliant spell at Charlton last season. Premier League is a bit of a step up. He is a dynamite, very well thought of. But he's still very, very young, 21, and hasn't had too much experience of top-flight football. Ball goes back to Anderson. Square it to Ward in the right fullback position. It's behind Ayew. Van der Ven will have it now. We'll add an injection of pace, that's for sure.
I think when you say he's very, very young at 21, I think Bellingham's changed the bar of what
he's
young and old is nowadays.
He's different. He doesn't count. He's like a cheat code, that fella. Here is Richarlison down the left side onto Maddison, who's made a dart into the left wing position. He's low cross into the near post, dealt with by Anderson and hoiked out to the near side. So here is the change, and Jezrak Zaki is on, and off comes Jeff Schlupp, and it's not a surprise that he's been interchanged, bearing in mind his injury issues. And off he comes, and on comes Rak-Saki. Signed from Chelsea's youth system, was last season's top scorer at the Addicks, and very well thought of by their supporters as well. That was a foul on Basuma, who's been dragged to the floor, and he stayed down. The referee says it's a free kick, I've given it to you, come on, let's crack on. Eventually they do that. Tottenham winning by 1-0 live on Talksport. Joel Ward with the own goal that separates the two teams. Romero up to Son. And picked up by Emerson Royale. Basuma's going to come away with the ball here, and he's poked it into Son. Bit of space, just 10 yards short of the penalty area. Out wide right is Pedro Porro. Low cross into the near post. Doesn't reach Madison, away by Anderson. Good defending by the big central defender from Denmark. Romero, just from right to the centre circle for Tottenham. Tottenham, I think, in that good position now, Stuart, where they don't have to force the issue and knowing that they can control the flow of the game.
Yeah, I was just thinking exactly the same. This is right into their hands at the moment. They can draw Palace onto them in the hope that Palace lose that shape that's been so effective to them defensively, and then hurt them on playing through the thirds.
I think they might replace Basuma here. He may well have got a little bit of a knock, but also the idea that if he gets another yellow card he'll miss the Chelsea game in 10 days' time might be playing on the mind of Ange Postecoglou. We may see Pierre-Emile Højbjerg in the not too distant future as a result of that. It is Roy Hodgson's 500th game in charge of an English side tonight as Tottenham play the ball around at the back with no urgency to go forward. His first was in charge of Bristol City in January 1982. It was Roy, so it was a 0-0 draw with Huddersfield. It was the month of the lowest ever UK recorded temperature, minus 27.2. You'd need a heated gilet for that, wouldn't you? They're still playing around with it, by the way, on the edge of their own box, Tottenham. They're not worried about going anywhere. It was also the month that Sun Big Bingo was launched, Big Business Now, and Big Business Then. As Tottenham go back to the goalkeeper. January 1982. What was the number one, Piercy?
January 82. I'm going for gold. Spandau Ballet.
Nope. Give you another go. As Son gets the ball towards the edge of the penalty after it was bent round the corner for him by Richarlison. Away by Johnston. At least they finally played the ball forward for a change, Tottenham. They've got it on the left-hand side with the Brazilian now. Maddison picks it up, looks up, then turns away from Raksak. He's come out to this right-hand side. Means Ayu's gone out to the left, and it goes out for a throw-in. Got another guess?
Yes, I'm going for Tushai Kajagoogoo.
No, you see, you've missed it. You missed it. Don't You Want Me Baby by the Human League.
Oh, good tune. Good tune, fella.
1982, I was 4. Adrian was senior school, just about.
I bet you had the Phil Oakey haircut, Aid.
Yeah, definitely.
Big ginger sweep across one of his eyes.
And Piercy was working as a waitress in a cocktail bar.
When you first met me, actually.
Here's the change. Basuma is off as anticipated, and on comes Højbjerg, and Brennan Johnson replaces Richarlison for the last half an hour of the game. What do you think about those substitutions?
Well, I think Johnson has got to be an improvement on Richarlison. I can understand that, and Højbjerg just like for like, really, you know. As I say, Johnson, I think he's been a really good signing. Whether he has big impact this year or not, I don't know, but his target should be to get in the team in front of Richarlison, that's for sure.
Ball's been sent back to Vicario. Pressure is on from Edouard, but they played through the press, Tottenham. Pedro Porro has found Kulusevski, and then Papsar has returned the ball to him, and Son is running through the centre. It's beyond Anderson. Flag was up. He did leave it because he was hoping that Maddison had come behind him, but it wasn't strong enough, the pass, to go any further than the South Korean. The flag goes up.
No, it was a poor ball across. Tottenham had 4 players heading into the box. He's gone for the first man, Son, and what he should have done is gone beyond him to the far post to Maddison.
Ange Postecoglou has got off to the best start as Spurs boss since Bill Nicholson. If you ask him, he'll tell you it's not about short-term success. Everything that he does with his coaching staff, Chris Davis, Ryan Mason, Matt Wells, Mili Jedinak, the former Crystal Palace midfielder, is part of his team as well. It's with a view to sustain success. Well, if it stays like this, they'll have a 5-point lead at the top of the Premier League. A ball wasted by Ayew, ballooned into the Holmesdale Road end over on the far side, and Tottenham again will take their time over trying to get things restarted. We've got 2 balls on the pitch here. Vicario, realising that, will put one out. Romero will keep things moving. 1-0 to Tottenham.
Palace have got to do something about this build-up of Tottenham's now. At the moment, there's a triangle of the two centre-halves and goalkeeper, and they're passing it backwards and forwards and sideways, and Palace are saying, well, we've been coached into this shape, I don't really know what to do now. And Tottenham are saying, well, unless you come to us, we're not coming to you.
Porro helps it out towards the right-hand side. Papsar switches the play. Brilliant ball out towards the left. Johnson nods it on. Maddison takes it in. Does well. Holds on to it. Pokes it into Johnson. Across to Son. It's a brilliant Tottenham Hotspur goal. Son tucks it in from 4 yards out after a beautiful move. It started with a crossfield ball over on the right-hand side from Papsar, which switched the play out to the left-hand side. Johnson, Maddison, Johnson again, and then Son was waiting on the edge of the 6-yard box to turn in the clinching goal. And they run over to their supporters on the far side, and no wonder it feels great to be a Tottenham fan right now. That was a sensational team move, and it's why they're going to go 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League.
Fantastically clinical play there, I've got to say. Mention that Johnson will have more of an impact than Richarlison. He has already. He's only been on the pitch 2 minutes, and he's been part of a goal. But I've got to say, Tottenham's build-up was slow. They've encouraged Palace onto them, and then they play through the thirds brilliantly well. And Son's got his goal, as we expected.
8 goals for the season now for Son Heung-min, and he celebrates with the captain's armband flexed around his bicep, and he celebrates what could be and should be the clinching goal, especially bearing in mind Crystal Palace's problem scoring goals. And there's a problem here for Tyreek Mitchell, the left full back. He's gone down, needing some treatment, and it may well be that now Crystal Palace have to make a change of their own. I mean, that's got to go down as a very good goal from Tottenham Hotspur. It was so well crafted, and Crystal Palace allowed them, in a sense, to get that build-up right by playing into their hands.
Well, they did. Palace sort of set a line 30 yards from goal and just looked at the 3 players, goalkeeper and 2 centre-halves, sat on the ball, passing it backwards and forwards. Then all of a sudden, they've decided to come and press it. They've played through that press and ended up at the far end of the pitch, tucking the ball in the goal. But I've got to say, it's a wonderful goal. It really was. Johnson setting it up with a header inside. Maddison getting on the ball, flick ball back to Johnson, and then the easiest of tap-ins that you would get.
I mean, it's just it starts with that ball from the right-hand side by Papsar, which is about 50 yards. It sweeps the ball out towards the near touchline. It's nodded down that touchline by Johnson into Maddison, who takes it in brilliantly, travels with it, flicks it to the on-rushing Johnson, who's come on an inside run from the left-hand side. He squared it across the face of goal, and Son's there to tuck it home. Delicious.
I can't improve on that statement, my friend. That's exactly how it was, and it looks as though this... Well, at 1-0, it looked as though Palace... I didn't know where a goal was coming from. At 2-0, they definitely look as though they're sunk at this moment, and they're going to lose their left back on the back of it by the looks of things.
Yeah, he's walking over towards this near side. It's almost as delicious as that crunchy you had at half-time.
Well, Sal always looks after us. He's very good like that.
He is. He's a very generous man. I had a Lion bar. I do like the Lion bar. Mitchell still ambling off down in front of us, and he's going to be replaced by Nathaniel Klein. Nathaniel Klein, who's making a landmark appearance, his 200th appearance for Crystal Palace. The big issue for Crystal Palace is that they haven't really got anybody to play on that left-hand side apart from him. Mitchell is their only real out-and-out left-back, and that again just shows the stretched nature of the squad. If you lose someone like Mitchell, you've lost Elise, you've lost Eze, you've got problems all over the park. And at the moment, Crystal Palace have. And you mentioned their fixtures and what is coming their way. Well, they've got Burnley, Everton, Luton and West Ham in the next few fixtures, and you'd think they'd start to pick up some points. But if they don't, the ones that follow that are big ones to hurdle.
They have. They've almost got 5 games that they look at and think there could be points here for us, and 4 games after that you think could be very tough. On paper, it doesn't work out that way, but the one thing they want to get some of these players that are injured back playing, and those players are the ones that make a difference.
I was talking to some Tottenham fans earlier, and they're worried about the sort of March, April time when they've got a really congested fixture list of big hitters. They've got Chelsea to come on a Monday Night Football in the not too distant future. That's live and exclusive and only here on Talksport. We do seem to do all their games at this moment in time, don't we? And then Wolverhampton Wanderers away. That's also live on Talksport as well, which is it will be a tough game. That Gary O'Neill's team playing well, Aston Villa are playing well too, but that one is at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And then come Manchester City away, which is another terrific fixture, but one that Spurs will have to try and negotiate. It's certainly one that won't be as simple as this one seems to be turning out to be, because they seem to be just running down the clock now, Stuart. I mean, it really is barely breaking a sweat. They got 2-0 up against Fulham, and they got casual actually towards the end of that game. I don't expect them to do that this time around after what happened on Monday night.
No, I'm not sure Palace have got the cutting edge at this moment in time. Probably not showed enough in that respect. But Tottenham look in control of this game, and it'll be a major shock if Palace do get back into it.
Crystal Palace 0, Tottenham Hotspur 2. If you think that they can, you can back them with Ladbrokes at 80-1 right now to go on and win the game, Crystal Palace. Tottenham are 66-1 on, and the draw 33-1 on. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes. 18 plus, be gamble aware.all. This is Talk Sport. And remember, when you wake up on Monday morning, Ali McCoist and Andy Townsend will be on your radio. If you haven't tried it out, it's a terrific listen. Those two fellas are almost a match made in heaven. That's Mondays and Tuesdays every week. Alan joins the party on Wednesdays and has Gabby with him on a Thursday and Ray on a Friday. And it's not too long now before Jeff Stelling joins the breakfast show. Looking forward to that from the early part of December. Romero has the ball deep inside his own half, and he plays it to Vicario. Vicario will hold on to it. Again, Palace don't press them. They allow them to have the ball, so Vicario just keeps at his feet. No one does anything. He's standing there watching. The fans get annoyed. It goes to Romero, and Vicario has it back again. He plays it to Van der Ven. No need to force the issue for Tottenham. They have a 2-goal lead. When they do, Johnson gives it away, and Ward comes forward down the right side, but Johnson tracks, puts it out of play, and it's away for a throw-in. He then bangs his elbow, his little funny bone, and he's not found it particularly funny. Ball chucked down the left by or towards the left by Ward, towards the halfway line, and Anderson goes back to his goalkeeper. I mean, the Palace fans are going to get frustrated if they don't at least look as if they're trying to get back into the game.
At this stage, when the goalkeeper's got the ball, you've got to go on a full court press. Literally squeeze on, go man for man. Otherwise, Tottenham will sit on the ball. You might not concede a third or fourth, but you'll get beat 2-0.
Raksaki trying to take on Emerson Royale. Emerson Royale wins the ball, takes it into the left full-back position. The fans don't like it. They want a free kick. The referee's not giving one. Højbjerg brings the ball away and then plays it back to Romero. 2-0 to Tottenham Hotspur. Crystal Palace not getting anywhere near Romero as he plays the ball into Royale, and then Maddison, then Porros comes centrally, back to Porro again. They're good at keeping possession, Tottenham Hotspur. I wonder what happens with Crystal Palace going forward. They are well drilled in this defensive formation, but they do have a lack of ideas once they go behind in a game. Here is Maddison down the left to Royale, edge of the penalty area. His strike comes back to Porro, who hits it, blocked by Ayew, and bounces out to the far side and goes out for a throw-in over on the far side. It's 2-0 to Spurs.
We've had a couple of good interactions so far. Johnson and Maddison combining rather nicely on this left-hand side.
Be interesting to see what happens in the next game, because if Johnson's coming on and making an impact like he did tonight, then it may well be that he nudges ahead of Richarlison, as you were suggesting, when the two switched.
Well, I've been a little bit disappointed with Richarlison this evening. Sort of almost looks short of confidence, lacking personality on the pitch. Then Johnson comes on and a couple of little give and goes, and all of a sudden he's contributed to a goal.
15 minutes to go. And once again, Tottenham just popping the ball around deep inside their own half. They're up on the halfway line now. Romero, Højbjerg, Van de Ven. Romero, Højbjerg, Van de Ven. Højbjerg floats it forward. Ward heads it away. Arak-Saki is bounced out of turf by Emerson Royale, who does like a little bit of the rough stuff every now and again. I think Tottenham probably need to get a little bit of credit for the fact that they are managing the game in the way they are. They're unbeaten in 10 Premier League games, and this is probably why, Stuart.
Listen, they're playing with confidence. They've got a set way of playing. They get numbers forward. They've got a bit of pace at the back with Van de Ven, who's got them out of trouble a couple of times tonight when potential problems could occur. And they've got cutting edge, and they've got a couple of players in their ranks that can get a goal out of nothing. And that's basically what they've done tonight.
Free kick given to Crystal Palace over on the far side. They are going to make some changes of their own, and it looks like Mateta is going to come on. Is that Franson that I can see getting ready? It's not a great introduction for him for a home debut. 14 minutes to go and 2-0 down. Ayew to take the free kick over on the far side. It's wide on the Palace left, right footed towards the penalty spot, flicks into the air by Romero and behind it away for a corner kick.
That's a top quality defensive header there from Romero. He put the ball right in the money area. Literally, he was backpedaling and at full strength. He's got 3 Palace players coming in behind him. He's just helped it over his own crossbar from about 5 yards out.
Going to be another corner before they can make the 2 substitutions, the 2 attacking substitutions here. Just saw Dean Kiley come out to the edge of the technical area. Jordan Ayew places the ball in the quadrant, right side in front of the Holmesdale Road end, looking to swing the ball in, right-footed towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's headed away by Tottenham. Doucouré sets it up for Arak-Saki, who's immediately dispossessed. And the ball goes back towards the edge of the centre circle. And there's a problem inside the box, which the referee wants to deal with. And Romero claims he's got a head injury, so they call on the physio, which means he's going to have to go off again. And as a result of that, we'll wait for the substitutions and go to Andrew McKenna, who's watching the rugby.
10 minutes to go in this bronze medal game. England lead by 3 points, 26-23. They're up thanks to Farrell and Nicolas Sanchez trading penalties. The benches have all been emptied, so pretty much everyone's on. The most disappointing aspect for England this evening, their most dangerous runner, Henry Arundel, substituted off after 65 minutes of play, having not touched the ball. Really feels like a missed opportunity in an attacking sense. England, though, on track for third place. They lead 26-23.
Well, Romero's taken so long to get off the pitch, bearing in mind he was standing away to our right-hand side and could have gone off behind the goal, that he should be booked for time wasting. I mean, I know he had a head injury, but he didn't want treatment. The referee enforced the physio to come on, and now as a result of that, he's got to stay off the pitch for 30 seconds. They've taken this long to decide they're going to make a substitution, and the whole thing's been slow-paced, and I thought we were supposed to be changing that, haven't we?
We can't change it when the officials need to be empowered to not stop the game. They're so frightened about making the wrong decision that they say to themselves, well, I'm going to stop play every time for player safety.
Is also onto the field of play.
This could be a long 30 seconds. Romero ends up on the side of the pitch, by the way.
The referee's not having it, is he?
No.
He's making him wait. França is on for his home debut, by the way. I think it was a change in midfield. Jefferson Lerma, I think, is the one who's come off for him.
Tottenham could keep the ball now where they are for the next 11 minutes, I think.
On the edge of their own penalty area, just rolling the ball between them.
And Palace won't attack and go and get after the ball. It's ridiculous, really.
It's so silly and it's so boring, and it's really winding up the fans behind the goals away to our right-hand side, because it basically is disengaging those and disenfranchising those supporters. All they want is for someone to show a little bit of intent. Surely, at this stage of 2-0 down, it's much better to go on that full court press that you recommended than it is just to keep sitting off.
Well, they've sat off, and when they do decide to go, they're late.
Here's Kulusevski into the box at the other end after beating the press initially. Tottenham almost cultivated a chance, and then as they try to find a Hamida who's come off the bench, Romero steps in, and now Brennan Johnson's got it midway inside Palace territory. Out to the left, and Johnson to Maddison, who chips in onto his right foot, plays it to Son. Son shoots, hits Anderson, and then is smuggled clear by Ayew out towards the right hand side. Roy Hodgson's still standing in that technical area, so is Ray Lewington. He was saying about the press before Tottenham developed an attack.
Yeah, what you've got to do, Tottenham have got the ball at the back now. Goalkeeper's got it at his feet, passing backwards and sideways. The two front men have just got to go like a speedboat out of control and go and chase it collectively together. If not, you're 2-0 down, it's 80 minutes, and Tottenham could just... Well, they just will go in the shower and have a shower now, to be fair. They've won the game.
They can just coast to victory,
exactly.
Can't they?
And the fans will tell you what to do. They're screaming, go and press them.
Ball's been sent long out towards the right. Son has picked it up and moved into an advanced position. He's got support from Pape Sarr to his right, and Kulusevski, who's gone on towards the byline. He's kept the ball in well, and he's kept hold of possession here. Sends it back to Sarr and then on to Pedro Porro. And now Højbjerg. And they can just afford to move the ball around on the edge of the Palace penalty area. 82 gone. Maddison back to Højbjerg, to Maddison again. Tottenham doing what you would expect them to do, toying with Crystal Palace. It's a little bit like playing with a string ball with a cat, isn't it? Like you messing around, teasing it.
See what they're doing,
asking it to probe.
Palace are just sitting back. They don't know when to go and press. Tottenham are saying, right, okay, when Palace do go, they're out of sync, and Tottenham have got the ball comfortably at their feet, ready to play a forward pass. So they're pressing when it's convenient to Tottenham, not when it's convenient to Palace.
On to Sarr. Sarr in behind. Anderson has to get across and does just about flick it behind. And Son's furious that the ball didn't come through to him. A better ball, and that would have been 3-0.
Well, as I was saying, by the time Palace do go and press, Tottenham have got the ball exactly where they want it. Players have made runs, and they pick them to bits.
So who's responsible for changing that?
Well, listen, you've got a couple of youngsters at the front end of the team now. They've got to take it upon themselves, or the front players have, to go chasing that ball.
Corner in towards the far post. Johnson heads it down, looks for Son, and it's cleared away from the edge of the 6-yard box, and it's out and away for a throw-in.
I think he's hit the post, actually. He's headed onto the post.
There is a claim here for them just to stop proceedings for a second and wait and review a situation. Wasn't a hand there, was there?
No, I think the ball's hit the post. Yeah, it's not a handball.
It's not a handball. I don't know what we're stopped for. Well, we're still waiting. What are they checking here? It didn't look like a hand against Nathaniel Klein because it came off the post, and then VAR is checking a handball. Nathaniel Klein's hand comes away though, doesn't it? It's not. Play on. Should have told you that about 2 minutes ago. A waste of time. Crikey. Maybe the referee's just got so used to just standing and watching Tottenham play the ball across the back four that he got a little bit tired out by the fact they had to run from one side of the pitch to the other. Thought we'd have a breather. Van der Ven down the left onto Johnson, helps it into Son's path. Low ball in towards Maddison, but it's not going to reach him, and goes through the 6-yard box and into the arms of Johnston. 6 minutes to go, and I must admit, since Tottenham Hotspur went in front, Crystal Palace have almost sort of chucked in the towel, really. They haven't done enough at all. Given away by França, poor touch, and it's been picked off by Kulusevski. Sarr into the to the Swede down by the byline. He looks to twist and turn, but França gets it away, but he gives it straight to Pape Sarr, who gets the ball into the near post, and he almost found Son, but it was too close to Sam Johnston and will be cleared away. He smashes it upfield and invites Rak-Sakyi to go on the run. It's over his shoulder and he controls it well. He turns Emerson Royale, keeps hold of the ball and wins a free kick. And a free kick which they've got to maximise. I think you probably wanted Raksaki to continue his run, didn't you?
Well, I wanted him, once he got fouled, put the ball down, spot it, play it, and go and play again. You know, he had a supporting player inside him, in Ayew. Play the ball quickly. I think we get so entrenched in set plays and everything's done for us that when something slightly different happens, you're 2-0 down, you need to do something, you need to press aggressively. You can't think for yourself.
They've kicked the spontaneity out of them. Is that the problem? France's free kick is a poor one. It's easily cleared. Klein keeps it moving. Back out to the left, and now Joachim Andersen, who delivers a low ball into the near post, smuggled behind well by Van der Ven. It's out for a corner.
Tell you what, Van der Ven's done brilliantly there. Anderson's dropped his shoulder. I mean, Kulusevski's looking at him and saying, well, you can't run past me, but give him too much space. He's dropped his shoulder, whipped the ball across the face of the goal, and Van der Ven on the near post, level with it, just put it behind for another corner.
Here is the corner over on that far side. France to take it in towards the near post, over the top off of a Tottenham head, and it goes out for yet another corner to Crystal Palace. Son is protesting, suggesting that came off a Crystal Palace head last. I think it certainly came off a Tottenham one. And it goes out on this near side, and Tottenham actually got a bit of work to do for the first time in a while.
Well, what they need to do is make sure there's not a big hurrah from Palace, and a goal at this stage, the fans certainly will expect that.
Raksaki drives the ball towards the near post. Again, it's blocked by a Tottenham body on the edge of the 6-yard area. Goes behind the way for another corner kick on this near side. And France will take it. Maybe there will be a grandstand finish. Right-footed delivery. Oh, it's gone straight out of play. Oh dear. Not the kind of introduction you want on your home debut.
No, he's certainly not had a good start. That is for sure. A couple of giveaways and then that horrendous effort from the corner.
He's a talented youngster, actually. He was picked up because one of the investors, one of the big investors, the majority shareholders now at Crystal Palace, and doing it for him, were in Brazil, and they went to take in a game because their flight was delayed. They had an extra hangover, and they went to see a game involving France. I think it was at Flamengo at the time, and he was so brilliant. They thought, oh right, okay, we'll look into him. They did, and then decided to buy him. They did really good negotiation. They basically played less than what Flamengo were asking, because they inserted a clause into the contract that if he won the Ballon d'Or while he was at Crystal Palace, they would pay him them an extra £4.5 million. He's never going to win the Ballon d'Or at Crystal Palace, with all due respect.
Well, I've done some negotiation with players in my time, but I've never had a Ballon d'Or clause.
Have you not?
No.
Didn't you have one in your contract? You must.
Never heard of it. When I was playing for Wealdstone, it was a pipe dream, my friend.
Two changes coming for Tottenham Hotspur as this game limps towards its conclusion, and it's going to be a welcome return to Rodrigo Bentancur, who's back actually a month early from his ACL issue, and Brian Hill was on loan last season in Spanish football, and it's going to be an important player now, I think, without Perisic and Solomon available to Ange Postecoglou, whose team are really coasting here. They've got the ball on the edge of their own penalty area. They play it through their players, no pressure, no worries. The Crystal Palace fans is going now, like there's enough. They know their team have made very little attempt to drag themselves back in this game, or have the little ability to drag themselves back into this game. It's quite dispiriting if you're a Palace fan, I would imagine. Would that be fair?
Are you asking me or the man to your right, the Palace fan? Well, it's frustrating when you see your team in a shape and not going 10 yards to go and chase the goalkeeper down when he's got the ball at your feet. You've got to decode it for yourself as a player and say, we need to force them into playing forward to at least attempt to get the ball and turn the ball over.
I think the good news is that Tottenham Hotspur have underlined their abilities here tonight. I mean, you will say they weren't up against much, as Bentancur comes onto a huge roar after a big spell out with a newly trimmed mullet, by the way. He's gone for the new trend.
Mullets are in, aren't they?
They are, mate. They are. I was thinking about it.
I had a semi-mullet in the 80s, fella.
Did you?
Yeah. I knew they would come back into fashion eventually.
I had one around about 1987. Didn't last very long. But there's a slightly different tone to them this time. They're very popular with the students. Bentancur, around about that age, gets the ball back to Højbjerg. Højbjerg from the left full-back position will play it up towards Van der Ven. Van der Ven will wander on the edge of the 18-yard box and play it out wide towards Papsar. And Tottenham, who are going to go 11 games unbeaten and 10 games from the start of the season unbeaten in the Premier League, powered by those smiling assassins, Son and James Maddison. Oh, crikey, that's the worst thing that the Palace fans have seen tonight. And 8 minutes of added time at the end of the game. They haven't tried for the last 20. Here's Bentancur taking on Mateta, fighting with Mateta, who comes away with the ball, plays it to Ayew, but Spurs win it back very quickly. Johnson, who's gone out to the right side, plays the ball into Sarr, looks for the return, he's in behind the fullback, he gets to the byline, chucks it back, Son is there, was it hitting the hands of the defender, comes back to Bentancur, he strikes it, it's cleared away by Anderson. There was a big shout for a handball. And as they chase the ball out to the far side, Pedro Porro and Christian Romero urge each other on to see this clean sheet over the line. Was this handball, Stuart?
It was, but I think it's come off of Gay's legs first and sprung up into his arms that are up at chest level, not away from his body. Good defending, yeah. It's hit his thigh, then his arm.
92 on the clock. Spurs about to end a third straight match weekend, top of the Premier League, and the rest don't get started until tomorrow. There's usually very few goals in Palace games, but Spurs don't follow anyone's script. It's going to be their biggest ever lead at the top of the Premier League at the end of a day ever in Premier League history for Tottenham Hotspur. 5 points. They've never led the Premier League by 5 points at the end of the day. And they've been allowed to coast towards the finish line here by an unambitious, I think that's fair, Crystal Palace side in this second half.
Yeah, they've been short of striking options, it's fair to say. We knew that from the offset. But the longer the game's gone on, the more their confidence has been eroded, and it's almost driven them down into a non-movement and no physicality in the team.
Brian Hill takes it in from the left touchline, plays it square. They're just over the halfway line inside Palace territory. Back out wide it goes to Emerson Royale. He then tricks his way past Rak-Sakyi and runs square. Is brought down by Ward, and it's going to be a free kick on this left-hand side. It's interesting to think about how Spurs have got here. They did spend £223 million in the summer, but that does need a little bit of context because 65 million of that were on players that were already on loan. They lost Harry Kane, recalled a doggy who was part of their squad already but was on loan elsewhere. And their new additions, all of them, have worked out really well. Van der Ven, Vicario and Maddison. Here come Palace trying to come forward at the last. Mateta into the box, watched by Van der Ven, one of those new acquisitions who's done very well tonight when called upon.
He's been the best player on the pitch for me tonight, Van der Ven. He's made some great contributions in regard to blocking crosses, balls across the face of the goal. He's been part of the build-up, and on top of that, his bitter pace has nullified any potential attack that Palace have had.
England have beaten Belgium in the Nations League by 1-0. The Netherlands have beaten Scotland by 4-0. Here's Ayew inside the area, brings it down, shoots and scores. Accusations of handball from the Tottenham Hotspur defenders. They threw the ball in from the right hand side. It came through to Ayew. He controlled it and then slapped it home. It came over the head of Pedro Porro. Did he use his hand? He may have done. And then right-footed, slashed it past the goalkeeper. The referee just checking with the VAR. Does it hit his arm? I think it hits his chest.
It's certainly his chest first. I'm not sure it rolled down his arm afterwards, Sam. But what I've got to say, Porro absolutely papped himself, if that's a technical term. The ball's floating above his head. He's about to jump up and he's too scared of getting clattered from behind.
I think it's a handball. The referee just getting information from the VAR. The VAR tonight, Stuart Atwell. He's looking at it. He's watched several different angles. It does look like it rolled down his arm. Is that definitive? I'm not sure. I mean, it does look like there's two touches there, doesn't it? It hits his chest, and as it comes down, does it hit his forearm?
I think the only thing I would say, the angle of the ball changes and moves back from where it is
his forearm
on his left-hand side, and it moves the ball back onto his right-hand side where he gets
it's a really tiny
away.
movement. It's a tiny movement, but it does help him control the ball, I think. And I think the VAR is going to call that as a handball as a result. We will see. We're still waiting. I mean, the other angle was the definitive one. The referee is now chalked off the goal. It's going to be... Oh, he wants the ball back. Hold on a second. He hasn't decided. What's he going to do? He is going to... Hold on. He still hasn't decided. We're still watching it. Come on. Some people have got a train to catch. The Crystal Palace fans want to know whether or not there's a goal or not. How long does it take? Well, it's been quite some while. It's touched the arm. We can see it. Is that clear enough for you to rule out the goal?
Well, they've looked at it countless times on my monitor here, and I think it's hit his arm. The spin of the ball.
And if you can't work it out by this stage, it's not clear and obvious anyway, is it? So just get on with it. It's such a waste of time, and so... Oh, he's given the goal. I actually think, having seen it 116 times, that it was handball. But I think in the end they probably just convinced themselves that they can't see it. I thought you could. They've given the goal. It's 2-1.
Well, it's that Manai who we thought might contribute to getting Palace back into the game. I think 2-1 flatters them at this stage of the game, but please don't sit back now. Go and try and get the ball, gentlemen.
Oh, look, they're pressing. What's going on? Romero clears upfield, flicked on by Johnson. Well, he played 97 minutes. There was supposed to be 8 minutes of added time. Paddy McCarthy's going furious on the touchline. It's chested down by Ahamada, who tries to go down the right. There's a little bit of life in Palace all of a sudden. What's going on? Well, it hasn't been like this all game. In fact, actually, Palace have been really poor. But in the 98th minute of the game, maybe there's still a chance that they might get something out of it. Ayew's goal. He has scored for the first time this season. His last goal was in April against West Ham. It was a well-taken strike from the edge of the penalty area, but it did look as if it hit his hand. I'm sure they'll talk about that a lot over the weekend. Ayew gets it again, tries to go towards the edge of the area. It's smuggled behind and out for a corner by Pedro Porro, and Tottenham have got to be really careful here.
Everyone's coming up now.
Even the
Johnston
goalie
is on his way.
Honestly, I don't understand. They had 20 minutes to press. The ball is in towards the penalty. It's flat by the goalkeeper. It goes to Mateta. He can't convict it. Inside the box. He couldn't convert the chance. He didn't have the conviction to ram it home. And after Vicario missed it, there was an opportunity for Mateta. He didn't quite manage to get hold of it. Raksaki down the right-hand side. They've had 20 minutes to up the tempo here. They haven't done so, and now Anderson's gone wiring in. It was a terrible challenge, actually, on Brian Hill. He's got a yellow card for that. He might be lucky just to get a yellow card for it, to be honest. Absolutely nonsensical. Tell me what you make of this approach. They've been 2-0 down since the 67th minute, but it's only in the 97th minute that they started to give the game a go after getting the goal. If they'd gone for it at 2-0, they may well have got themselves back into the game earlier.
It's almost like running to a fight when the fight's over, to be honest with you. You know, it is one of those. Now, all of a sudden, the right thing to do is go in to press the goalkeeper and chase it when it's 2-1. They should have been doing that at 1-0, 2-0, because Tottenham have just run the clock down. They've probably lost 20 minutes on the back of it.
England have beaten Argentina 26-23 in the rugby. We'll stay here just because of the fact that we're not entirely sure how many minutes we've got left yet. The referee's talking to his VAR again, Stuart Atwell, so we're having another delay to the game. We've played 100 minutes. and now we're getting back on with it again because there's nothing going on. And the Palace fans are being a little bit irked by the referee's treatment of that situation, but also they want their players to get forward and try and get an equaliser they wouldn't really deserve on the large balance of play. Ayew gives away a free kick after a collision over on the far side, and then he gets a yellow card. He's been arguing, so the referee's again delaying proceedings. We've played 100 minutes now, and Tottenham are taking a free kick over on the far side. Well, it didn't need to end like this. It could have been more of a contest had Palace gone towards the game earlier on. Instead, they backed off and just allowed Tottenham to see out the match, and then when they did eventually almost fortuitously get back into it, they had not enough time to press home the momentum that had gone their way. Offside flag up against Son, free kick.
Palace have chased the goalkeeper down on 3 occasions, and all 3 occasions they've won the ball back.
Imagine what would have happened. Forward by Johnston, just short of the halfway line. It's kicked towards the left-hand side, looking for Anderson, who keeps it at it's offside. Well, there'll be an inquest, and when Roy Hodgson looks back at it, I think he'll be incredibly frustrated with how this game has gone. Ange Postecoglou, I think, will be a little bit annoyed about the finish to the match, because his team were in complete control, almost casually so. I'm not even sure that was offside.
No, I'm not either, by the way. Just looking at the replay, I think there was other Palace players offside. I'm not sure Anderson was.
Away by the goalkeeper, out towards the right-hand side. Vicario comes to Bentancur, who's midway inside Palace territory. We played 101. We're in the 102nd minute now. The ball is with Pap Sarr. It's out to the right, and then it goes back to halfway, and then Romero sees it all the way back to the goalkeeper. They're encouraged to press once again, Palace, and they're doing so, and they're not going to get the ball. Romero angles it forward, or he's given it straight to Joe Ward, and this could be the last Palace attack. He's gone backwards rather than forwards. Anderson steps into it, hits it forward, it bounces off Bentancur, prodded by Doucouré, out to the left-hand side, might well come to França, and miskicks it over the bar. What a chance right at the very end. And somehow Spurs are in a situation where they're almost hanging on to a game that they've already won once.
Well, as debuts go, it's memorable. He's chopped a corner behind, he's chopped a wonderful opportunity behind the goal, and, well, it's very difficult to quantify what he could have done, which would have been any worse during the game.
There's the full-time whistle. Well, this Tottenham team is so good, the only one to start the season better won the double. History points to a season of success. Sides who have this many points from this number of games challenge, they contend, and they often succeed. Can Tottenham follow in those footsteps? Well, there's nothing in the rules to say they can't. Crystal Palace will be incredibly disappointed because they waited right to the very end of the game before they properly started to have a go at Tottenham, and when they did, they almost came up with an unfathomable equaliser. In the end, it didn't happen, and Spurs hung on, and they were probably well worth their 3 points tonight. But it was a bizarre end to the game, and not helped by the officials, really. We'll discuss it all and the fallout from it in just a second, but it has finished. Crystal Palace 1, Spurs 2.
Yep, Spurs celebrating. They're clear, 5 points clear at the top of the table. Palace probably will wonder what might have been. What a strange old game that was, and it went on forever. I think I'm due to start Game Day Live tomorrow afternoon. And is he really Brazilian? It's a surreal game we've brought you live and exclusive on Talksport tonight. Stuart Pearce, gather your thoughts after that one. Where it leaves us is Spurs are 5 points clear at the top of the table. 10 games in, are they the real deal?
You can't put it this way, you can't argue with results. You know, what is it, 8-2 now after the 10 games? They've got the points, they're 5 points clear at the top of the table. You can't knock that. They're playing with a composure and a semi-swagger that things are going their way. Someone's had to slice in their own goal to put them 1-0 up, and they showed great cutting edge for the second goal. Let's not lose track of that. But listen, if you keep coming out the right side of things, you can't argue with that.
Second goal was brilliant for Spurs, you're absolutely right. But what they're not doing, what they might have done last season, they're not panicking when things aren't going their way. First half didn't have a shot on target. They're not panicking, they're not letting any negativity surround them, they're not letting any noise get to them whatsoever. They're just keep on doing their thing. It eventually paid off for them.
It certainly did. As I say, at 0-0 at half time, there was this nagging thing in the back of your mind that you thought someone will come and do something special for Tottenham, because they've got the players in their ranks to do that. I don't think Palace had a special player to get a goal out of nothing, if I'm being honest with you.
They did get a goal. VAR took forever. We won't bother talking about VAR because we've done it so many times before. Everybody knows that they just haven't got it quite right. It took so long, looked like handball, but it was given, and they suddenly woke up. Can you explain Crystal Palace tonight? Because I don't understand what the game plan was at all once they'd fallen behind.
Well, the shape is a really good thing, but you can't be indoctrinated by the shape and just get in the shape when you're 1-0 down, 2-0 down. You as a player have to turn around and say, what is needed at this moment in time? If their goalkeeper stood on the edge of the box with a ball at his feet and you're just stood there looking at him, and 20,000 people are saying, is there any chance of you going to press him? When they did go and press them and they got their tails up a little bit, 3 times Tottenham kicked it long, 3 times they turned the ball over. When they didn't press it quickly and thought, oh, hang on, eventually I'm going to have to go, they done it when they weren't in shape and got picked off.
Brief final one from you, Stuart. I'll remind everybody you picked Newcastle to win the title this season, and they may win the title.
Correct.
Yeah, they're not doing too bad at all. Are you going to put Spurs in the... Are they genuine title contenders?
Well, any team that have started the season in the manner with the results that they actually have, and this is just going to gain confidence within the group, with the manager and his ethos. The fans over there at the moment are jumping around like as though they've just won the World Cup, and credit to them for it. Why not? They're going to have a major part and a major say where the title does go because of their form now and the points they've already accrued.
Is that no?
I don't think so, but listen, they're going to gain confidence by nights like tonight and the amount of points. When they wake up tomorrow, they're 5 points clear at the top of the table. That takes some doing.
Stuart, brilliant. Thanks again, the former England captain Stuart Pearce, as the Spurs players have finished celebrating with their fans across the park, and they make their way all the way to the other corner of the pitch. Down the tunnel they will head and celebrate in the dressing room with one another. Meantime, we will get that full-time report in the rugby, and it's good news for England.